everyone, welcome back to Kevin Reviews. I just finished watching 2016 Zootopia by Walt Disney Pictures. This is directed and written by Jared Bush, Byron Howard, and Rich Moore. And the cast includes Ginnifer Goodwin, Jason Bateman, Idris Elba, Jenny Slate, and Nate Torrence. I remember, yes. Oh, first of all, I should also say that I am watching this before I go see Zootopia 2 next week. Um, I hope it's good. It looks about just as good as the first film, but I'm not sure where it's going to go in terms of its direction. But I'm still looking forward to it. Um, but I do remember seeing this film, especially during 2016, and 2016 was not, you know, and it's hard to not make kind of this comparison with what this film was attempting to do in terms of its message and whatnot, um, to kind of how things back in the United States for me was in 2016. And I mean, we had a new administration that was very polarized, and there was fear, kind of, dread about what was going to happen. Um, and, you know, and if you're curious, and of course, there's been like police brutality, especially against African Americans, Black people, or other Americans of like Hispanics, and especially nowadays with ICE crackdowns and stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie; those are things I'm not used to talking about. It's not like I don't recognize them and see how bad they are. I don't know. I do see how bad those type of things are, but it's just I don't like getting confrontation or political. I don't go out and do protest. I'm not physically fit to do that, even if I wanted to. Um, so, but I don't know. I guess for me, it's just like I want to try to keep you know things try to on equal footing, even if it doesn't feel equal. And in a way, this kind of movie does represent that. And I mean, we even had, like, I can even think another movie that was highly polarized and complete and really just dis dismantled, even with the Ghostbusters 2016, that was highly debated. Um, having all the Ghostbusters, it looks like a reboot, or sequel. It was hard to tell, and it was going to be all women um, instead, and it just didn't look funny, and people kind of ripped it apart. It was just kind of a huge deal. You just don't mess with the Ghostbusters, the original. And yeah, but even if you talk bad about Ghostbusters, then you're also saying you hate women or something like that. So it was like there's no win condition, basically, in regarding what your thoughts and feelings about Ghostbusters at that time. As for me, I watched the first Ghostbusters, and I'm sure I'm going to get probably some hate for this. I saw it once, the original Ghostbusters, and I didn't get it. I'm sorry, I didn't grow up with it. I only saw it like later on when I was in college and by myself. So maybe I needed to see it with more people to, understand its importance, how funny it is. I don't hate it. I don't think it's a bad movie. It's just I don't think it's particularly for me in terms of my in my taste. But I'm sure if I had grown up with it, then that would have been a completely different story. I'm sure of it. Anyway, I'm kind of going off topic here, but I just want to kind of you know I hope I'm saying this right, because that's I think that's one concern I have about talking about Zootopia, because there can be correlation to this with real life, stuff happening, whether it was then or was it now or any time and period, it still happens. So, but I still want to try to be on equal footing, just mainly talk about the movie itself. If I hope I said something right, because I'm that's one thing I was fear of, is saying something wrong that you know because I want to treat everybody with respect, and and respect their opinions, even if it's wrong, but or if it's wrong or if it's out of fear or whatever, because that's I don't know, that's the kind of the idea, or I guess the kind of guy I am. And I deep down I think everybody can be, I could even be a hypocrite for my actions later on, even this speaking through this, speaking about this. I'm sorry. um I'm really trying to cover my bases so I don't anger anybody, because that's not my goal. I don't want to ever do that. It's not my thing. So, but yeah, anyway, let's get on to the review of 2016's Zootopia. So the story goes in Zootopia is Judy Hopps, played by Ginnifer Goodwin, is wanting to be a cop ever since she was a kid, and she does get it, and she wants to serve, um, the police force in Zootopia, and she gets that chance. Of course, she believes that Zootopia is a place where everyone's very peaceful, very inclusive, despite, needing to be officer of law. And yeah, but of course, she finds that when she enters the police force, she's not treated as fairly because, she's a rabbit or a bunny, as the movie kind of often likes to call her, a bunny. And unlike the other cops that are like either big, tough, or fast, and like to get things done, where she's just small and fast, at least. Though she does actually do some police work, early on, with with you know with criminals that are about the same stature as her. Um, so yeah, she's not treated as fairly, but then she gets a case. Well, not directly. She indirectly gets a case, um, involving missing animals. And she also ropes in the help of a con artist played by Nick Wilde, played by Jason Bateman, a fox, a natural predator to prey. And basically, they have to figure out what happened to these animals. And that's basically the gist of the story, overall. And there's more. There is a mystery behind it, and I will say, I still very much enjoy this movie. The animation is still gorgeous. It looks very clean, very you know clean, colorful, it beautiful. I can hardly find any fault with the animation unless my eyes deceive me, um, which is possible. Um, I like the look of this Zootopia. These district involving different areas like savanna, rainforest, the tundra. Um, you know, great environments to kind of mix things up, not feel the same, and basically, and to meet certain animals' needs. Because like the polar bear has to be in the tundra where it's cold, um, and the rainforest, like uh, jaguar or stuff like that. That's their natural habitat. So I do really enjoy that. Um, and the look in the animation overall. The characters are fantastic. The main ones, especially, the main characters. Some of the side characters don't exactly work for me. I think there's Dash, the sloth, and granted, it's a funny idea where in terms of where Dash works, but then when they had to play on the fact that yes, Dash is slow, it kind of loses its humor over time. But thankfully, it doesn't stay that long. So I mean that's at least a plus. Um, so um, how about Judy Hopps? Judy Hopps is great. I actually really like the idea. She's the person who is a very optimistic, thinks she's going to make a difference, versus Nick Wilde, who's kind of more of a pessimistic, but doesn't, you know, thinks as long as people see who you are, that's who you're ever going to be. And that's kind of, it's not a great way of thinking, but it's how he see things based on how he lived. Um, and it's kind of and it's interesting to see both them work off at each other that in that way. Um, I hope I'm getting that right because I know. Um, but in any case, the mystery is great. I think it's great for kids. Might be a tad bit too predictable for adults, but even when I saw it in 2016, I didn't see it coming. Um, and yes, there is a villain in this, and there isn't a whole lot of time spent on the villain. Um, to focus on, kind of like your typical Disney villain from back then. I don't think it's needed. Um, and sometimes even the villain does have some weird, the plan that the villain has is not always clear, or you know, like how did the villain know certain things happen that she gets what she wants, or the villain just kind of makes it up as it goes. I don't know it, but I still didn't mind what they try to do in terms of the villain, but still, those are things I saw personally, and I could be wrong. Um, the message, I think I pretty much said it in my intro. The message is clearly there. I think it is a great message about, it's not so much as solving, like prejudice at all. It's more like trying not to be prejudiced, and that's because I'm sure we've had, that we've had our have our own prejudice. We certainly can be even hypocrites for saying that we're not prejudiced, and we can be. But the idea is to try. Well, of course, if the old saying, "Do or do not," there is no try. Of course, that's conflicting, but I think in this message it does it well in terms of just you know just do what you can, do what you can. Try not to judge others based on looks or stereotypes, and try to make the world a better place the best you can, overall. And I think that's important message, especially for young kids growing up. And I still think it's important message even for today, especially even back then, 2016, and should always be a thing. Even though it does nail it on the head quite often, it does really hammer in that message quite a lot. Can be seen as a bad thing, but sometimes you need those type of messages, even if it is very forced. So, but yeah, I think it's good. I mean, and honestly, I kind of realize that because I have seen like Doug Walker's review on mini review on Zootopia, and he does say that it's important that this type of message is nailed on the head, because with what's been happening back then, and what's kind of is happening in recent years, I think it is important, especially um, that for this particular message about prejudice, prejudice, and even though it's strictly towards animals and species, um, than race, but it is correlates to race, race, ethnicity, and whatnot. So I hope I'm saying the right thing, because I don't want to anger anybody. It's not my goal. Um, but yeah, there's a lot to like about. I think there's still very much a lot to like about this movie, and even has a great Shakira song. I'm not even a big pop fan, and I think Shakira's the song that they play at the end with Shakira is still fantastic. Um, let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing. Um, are there any other issues I can think of? Not really. There's not really a ton of issues other than, yeah, the message can be hammered on the head. I like the fact that certain characters do learn over time how to be more accepting, um, and whatnot. And I really like the kind of the odd couple friendship between Judy and Nick overall. So I don't know. I don't really have a ton to say. I mean, I think this is still a fantastic film that everybody should watch once, even more than one time. So I give Zootopia 5 stars. So I'm, that's just me. It's kind of a hard movie to talk about, I think, for me because it correlates to nowadays. But still, but what are your thoughts on Zootopia? Leave in the comments below. Give a like, dislike the review if you wish. Feel free to subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next review. Bye.